Sir, we are live.
A very good evening, everyone. It's such a pleasure for me to bring the 7th edition of our Young Scholars Colloquium with 4 of our bright alumni of Jindal Global Law School and a student of our LLB program in this very special colloquium focused on diversity of legal careers. And we are going to hear perspectives from young lawyers and also a law student about their academic and professional journeys. JGLS Young Scholars Colloquium is a webinar which we are doing for last 7 weeks. And a lot of people ask me why I do this. So primarily, I do this for my own happiness. I derive a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure, and a lot of satisfaction seeing our students who joined us as young people graduating from schools at the age of, say, 17 or 18, and spending 5 years on campus, or even coming as graduates and spending 3 years on campus in our BA LLB or LLB programs, and then going out and making their mark in different fields. Also, I try to connect them with some of our students to understand the students' aspirations and their understanding of their seniors. So I'm enjoying it, and it's purely for my own pleasure I do it. And I'm so very thankful to our students and alumni who find time despite their busy schedules, sometimes even being in different time zones. I remember one of our alumni was ready to join me at 4 a.m. in the morning from UC Berkeley when I wanted to do this event at 5 p.m. in India. And I actually changed the time from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. so that she could join us not as early as 4 a.m., but then she joined us very early at 6 or 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And that's the commitment, that's the, I will say, the love and passion for your alma mater. You do anything for it. So today we have Suryaj, who is an associate in Khetan and Company in their Kolkata office. We have Sana Bhatta. Sana is doing great job as a postgraduate teacher of legal studies, along with being a legal advisor as well as a trustee of the Bloom Public School. And a lot of our students have actually joined law schools this year. I will be sharing my idea on my experience of legal studies education in schools as well. Samarpit is an advocate, a very bright and I will say popular student on campus, also part of a student council, if I remember correctly. Someone who was organizing events, Biswa Mill, a lot of things on campus. I mean, even after Samarpit left the campus, after completing his BLLB honors, for next 1 or 2 years, I felt he's around. He's there somewhere. He will come and I will be able to see him. But I could meet him only when I visited Jodhpur a few years back. An advocate in the Rajasthan High Court in Jodhpur, legal consultant, almost setting up own practice, own independent legal work. And then we have Shruti Saraf, who had joined us presently from Muzaffarpur, if I'm right, a graduate of JD Women's College, JD Birla College from Kolkata, and joined the 3-year LLB program at Jindal, now in her final year of LLB program. Unfortunately, studying online for last almost 2 semesters and a little more. So it's such a great panel to hear different perspective, different, I will say, academic and professional journeys. Anuja is our graduate of 2020 BA LLB, a prolific writer, researcher, not just journal articles in some reputed academic journals, but even blogs. I will like Anuja to share his love and passion for research and writing, apart from his being an advocate registered with the Bar Council. So to start with this uh, uh, colloquium, I will first like to invite Suryaj and to share his journey, his studies at JGLS as well. But prior to that, his undergrad degree, and then his professional work, which he has done at Ketan and Company in Kolkata office. So over to you, Suryaj.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for your kind words, Professor Mishra. I think it's a great initiative that you are carrying forward. It gives everybody a chance to be in touch with each other, and also, more importantly, for us to impart some kind of knowledge, whatever we at least can, to the future generations, because I think that is an integral part of learning. Apart from what we learn in the classroom itself, a practical knowledge is always better. So to start with, I had decided to do law fairly earlier in my life, and I was considering a lot of options when I was in the class, when I was in class 8 or 9, and I was always into debating and arguing, obviously, and I always liked being more analytical with everything. So I was kind of considering law as a career option, but then I read a book by Jeffrey Archer called Prisoner of Birth, in which there was a character who was a lawyer. He was not the main character. However, the character was shown as a very suave superhero kind of a person who knew every all the answers, who would be sitting in the corner until he was called right at the end to save the day. So that kind of also triggered how I wanted, what I wanted to do later on. And after that, I just kept falling more and more in love with the whole concept of it, how the study is, what actually lawyers do or are supposed to do. Now, I did my schooling from Don Bosco Park Circus in Kolkata. And after my class 10, I shifted to La Martiniere because I wanted to, as I was saying, I was pretty sure that I wanted to do law. And La Martiniere provided a better and more holistic humanities background. So I went to La Martiniere, where I studied a host of humanities related subjects like political science, along with commerce and science related subjects. So that was a good combination. And thereafter, when I graduated in 2012, due to some personal difficulty, I could not travel outside Calcutta to do law. So I did the political science in St. Xavier's, Kolkata, the 3-year political science honors program. I still always wanted to do law. There were many instances when I was like, should I go somewhere in the political science realm? Should I go into civil services or something of that sort? But nothing could deter me from this aspect. I'll give a small anecdote. We would be studying some kind of political jurisprudence at the end, and I would just be like, why don't we just look more into this case law which talks about this rather than looking into the theory itself? So there was just something about law that always enamored me, and that kind of carried forward. I even did an exchange when I was in Xavier's with the University of Minnesota, and I had done some legal electives there also. So that made me understand a comparative analysis of the legal systems properly over here in America, in UK, and that just kind of furthered that I want to do law and nothing else. So eventually, when I graduated in 2015, I had taken the LSAT, and I remember I had a host of discussions with Professor Mishra regarding me coming there, because all along I have always been in Calcutta, I've not gone anywhere, not stayed apart, and then suddenly be uprooted from here for 3 years. But Mr. Mishra, always Professor Mishra, always being how courteous and being how relaxing that he is, he assured us and he forced us that it will be fine, it's a good decision, and he pushed us towards that decision, me and my family, to a great extent. And till date, I am so thankful and grateful to Professor Mishra for ensuring that I did come to Jindal and I did spend 3 years of my wonderful life over there. So when I reached Jindal, obviously it was overwhelming. We came to such a big campus, so many things going on. Everybody's staying there. It's a residential campus, but it soon became home. And I think all of us will share that view that it became home for everybody in the true sense of the word. The classes were fantastic. The faculty was unparalleled. And I was telling Professor Mishra this before also that presently, when I'm working in Khaitan, I've had the opportunity to mentor a lot of students from JGLS, and they are far better than the other law school students that I've generally come across. Their research skills, their skills to generally communicate and express their what their dislikes are or what they want to learn is so much better than the others. I can see it happening because of the amazing faculty that we have in Jindal. And it's not only about the academics. I've made friends that have now become family and mean a lot to me, and the bonds that we have shared over there because of staying over there 3 years at least for me is amazing, and I'm always forever grateful to that place. I make it a point that if I'm ever crossing that area, if I'm in Delhi for some reason, I make a stop. I walk in just for that nostalgic purposes for that 5-10 minutes, and it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. It immediately takes you back to your days, going dining in the mess, walking around here and there, going to the convenience store, and there is no substitute for that. And so now I would like to go on a bit more after I graduate. So I graduated in 2018, and I joined the chambers of Mr. Joy Saha. He's a senior advocate. So let me just tell you that to join the chamber of a senior advocate is a test of how good a bodyguard you can be. So essentially, what you need to do is you need to follow him around constantly. So you need to follow him around court. You need to follow him around in chambers. You need to follow him around and pester him and ask him, "Sir, what are you doing now? What should I be doing?" So that is your main task. And whenever he argues a case, you go back to the chamber, you read the brief, you try to understand what he was arguing, and that's how you kind of further your knowledge. And with time, he'll give you more work. You give your suggestions. Like what I would do is, if I would contact his clerk, my senior's clerk, and ask him that what are the matters that are coming up in the next 2-3 days. I would read those briefs and get ready with those briefs like they were my matters, like I was going to be in that matter. Read the notes, prepare it, give some suggestions. You might look pretty stupid at times in front of your senior if you give suggestions which don't make any sense, but it's that process that you have to trust and you have to always keep going at it. That's what I at least did. So I was in the chambers of Mr. Joy Saha from July 2018 to July 2019, after which I had joined Khaitan and Company as an associate in the dispute resolution group. That was a little different of a ball game altogether because we were handling a lot more many things. So I'll give the differentiation also over here for all the people who are watching. When you're in the seniors chamber, you're more involved with just the seniors work and what he is doing. But as soon as you shift to a firm, especially a firm like Khaitan and Company, there's a lot more tangents that come into play. You are looking at things such as client management, delivering certain expectations, getting all the non-legal based work also done on time, and also in apart from that, keeping everything ready on your legal basis, being updated with law on a day-to-day basis, knowing how to go about all the court work that is also there. So it is a challenge in the beginning, but from my experience, I've been blessed with a wonderful team. I'm at least a part of a wonderful team where it's, again, at least luckily how it was for me in law school. Everybody is like family. We help each other out. I've had a lot of learning from even my chamber in Mr. Joy Saha and in Khaitan and Company, where the teammates that I've had have really significantly impacted my growth. They have at each step told me that this is the way of going about it. This is not how you should be doing it. Excuse me. And not only that, the most important is that the level of confidence, trust, and responsibility that they bestow upon you is amazing. You feel responsible for what work you're doing, and they will let you do however you want to. They will let you make a call. It's not that you will be micromanaged at every level. So that kind of trust really makes you feel proud and makes you want to work harder and makes you want to be more resolute with all your work. So it's been an amazing journey for me at Khaitan so far. It's been 2.5 years now that I've been there, and I look at all kinds of work which divert from, let's say, I've appeared for the Union of India a couple of times as well. I appear for several PSUs and large private companies, international clients. So there's a lot more exposure that you get being a part of a top tier firm. In addition to that, you also get a large exposure to the legal fraternity in general. You get to meet a lot of senior counsels, you get to have discussions with them, and you get to learn a lot in that process. Because even if you all are discussing how to go about a particular matter and how to go about a particular strategy where you all might be stuck, the strategies that will come up, they might not work at certain stages, but at least you know that this is now something that is there in my mind if I need it for a later purpose. So this one particular senior counsel told me a very smart thing, if I may just share. He told me that it's not important to only learn, but it's also very important to learn how to learn. Because there are many times where you'll be bound by 20, 30 matters in a day, and you'll just be running around here and there, and you don't know how to manage everything, how to do all of this. So to know how to do all of that, to know how to get to the crux, to read the important portions, is something that you also everybody should focus on, which will only come through hard work. And I would like to at least say that there are many times in my life where I've considered that no, I'll just do something for a shorter period of time with greater focus. Maybe I won't put in that much hard work that is needed. But now at least I've realized, and I would like to impart this to everybody watching also, that there is no substitute for hard work. And there is no absolute substitute for hard work and persistence. You might have all the talent in the world, everything, but you have to give it your all. You can't expect anything without having to giving it your all. There are sacrifices that are there, but you have to follow your passion. If you follow your passion, all of those sacrifices will be worth it at the end of the day. I would now like to hand it over back to the professor for his talking to the next speaker.
Yeah, thank you so much, Suryaj. It was such a pleasure to, listen to your journey. And also, I truly appreciate the enthusiasm and commitment with which you are serving Ketan and company. And also, previously in the Calcutta High Court, your senior. Now I will come to Sana Bhatta. Sana is an LLB graduate of 2016.
Yes.
And most interestingly, she has a brilliant record of working in the field of corporate law as well, where she has interned with some of the top law firms, worked with some of the top law firms. But what she's doing now is she is a legal advisor and trustee to a school called Bloom Public School in Delhi, and she teaches legal studies. Now, legal studies is a subject taught in class 11th and 12th, and she has chosen to become a postgraduate teacher. And what I understand, she's not just teaching legal studies in her own school, but also providing training to a lot of legal studies teachers around and helping many other schools to upgrade teaching of legal studies in their institutions. Legal studies as a subject is very close to my heart as well. I hope Sana remembers that the textbook on legal studies published by NCERT CBSE for class 11, 12, when this subject was introduced, is authored by a professor of law of Jindal Global Law School. Professor James Nedumpara was heading that project, and he actually wrote the book, and even it was done on the campus. So legal studies being taught around the country in schools, the textbook is actually an intellectual property and work of JGLS faculty members, and also the students who work with him. Professor James has been one of our founding faculty members, and also one of those rare academic having a lot of, I will say, practice and research experience in the field of trade law and even I will say he has offered courses in many other areas of law, but also as a founding director of our uh, Center for Economic and Trade Law, the International Trade and Economic Laws, the CITL. So, Sana, I would like you to throw some light about your past experiences, and now when you are as a teacher, as a postgraduate teacher in a school, and also providing legal advice to that school, this experience overall, because I'm very sure legal studies is going to become one of the popular courses. It has already become the finest schools in the country are offering legal studies. And even I have a personal experience 5 years back when Mr. Vineet Joshi was the chairman of Central Board of Secondary Education. I had an opportunity to attend a meeting with some 20 different educationists from Delhi NCR and different universities and colleges, where I had proposed to him that how to popularize legal studies as one of the courses of CBSE in the schools in the country. And today I'm very happy to see most of the leading schools are offering legal studies as one of the core subjects being offered in class 11th and 12th. So over to you, Sana, and it's such a pleasure having you in this session.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone is safe and healthy. Thank you, Professor Mishra, for such a lovely welcome, and thank you for this platform. I think, if nothing else, COVID-19 has brought all of us a lot closer. We're able to meet. I'm so happy to meet all of you again. So a little bit about my journey. I actually studied at Bloom Public School, the same school at which I'm teaching currently. So it's a little surreal. I graduated in 2010. We didn't have legal studies as a subject at that time. I had no idea about law. So I did, and then I moved on to BBA. I did my bachelor's and undergraduation in BBA. That is where I had a lot of exposure to business law. I had a lot of exposure to financial, accounting, transactions, financial management. I've always had a business bent of mind. So these subjects were very interesting to me. That is when I started to discover about law as a subject. I met up with a few people. I do not come from a family of lawyers. I'm a first generation lawyer in my family. But I had the opportunity to meet a lot of lawyers, talk to a lot of people. And then I moved on, I gave my CLAT, and I went into Jindal. Jindal for me is a very, very fond memory. I loved my 3 years at Jindal. The exposure at Jindal is unparalleled. I must compliment the faculty. Today, I very strongly believe that Jindal has the best faculty there is to offer. The subjects, the professors, the way the subjects are taught, because it's not just about teaching the subjects, it's about getting connected with your students, about focusing on the learning, the exposure to moot courts, the exposure to debating, the exposure to having classroom arguments, the approachability of the professors is unparalleled. My 3 years at Jindal gave me such a wide exposure. I interned with high courts. I interned at the Supreme Court. I interned with law firms. So I had an absolutely amazing experience and journey at Jindal. I have to say that the person I am today is because of my experience at Jindal. After Jindal, I moved on to join the chambers of Prashanto Sen, who today is a senior advocate. Very interesting story with him. When I joined him in 2016, he was on the move and path to becoming a senior advocate. So I've kind of seen both the sides. I was with him before he became a senior. So we had a lot of drafting, and it was a lot of fun going to the court, because I think for every young law student, going to court is very fascinating. It's very interesting. It's full of exposure, the various cases. It's just fun being in court. So my instant reaction after law school was litigation. And to my surprise, I absolutely loved it. And during my tenure with Prashanto Sen, he became a senior advocate, which was absolutely amazing. I saw his journey, his drive, and his struggle, and the path to becoming a senior. So then after he became a senior, things change. Senior advocates have different roles. So seeing him through that journey, and I was so grateful to have the opportunity to work with an advocate like Mr. Prashanto Sen. I then moved on to I wanted to try corporate law because I'm the kind of person I like to try everything before I decide what my niche area is. But litigation gave me a lot of exposure to research. At Jindal, we were always taught that the art of research is very important. Research, writing, and we got all of this from writing papers. We researched a lot. We worked with our professors. We published papers with our professors. We picked up current topics and we wrote about it and we researched and we debated about them. So during my litigation practice, I got the opportunity to use my research skills a lot and sort of refine them. Then I moved on to one of India's leading law firms, Desai and Devanji, at their Gurgaon branch. I had a great exposure. I was suddenly opened up to the corporate law world, which is very different to litigation. Corporate law, you have the structure is different, the atmosphere is different, and the experience is absolutely different. But I had amazing partners. I worked on a variety of matters. We worked on corporate matters, we worked on mergers, we worked on acquisitions, we worked a lot on real estate. So I had a great exposure. But somewhere along that time, I fell in love again with research and academia. That is when I decided to take the leap of faith and do something that usually maybe lawyers don't do, which is to go and teach law. CBSE started legal studies, which is the Central Board of Secondary Education. They started legal studies in the year 2012, 2013. And many schools started picking up the subject. It's called legal studies. So when I read about the book, I read about the subject, Bloom Public School picked up the subject as well as one of their core subjects. Then I decided to do my master's in law because I needed the qualifications to be a postgraduate teacher. So I did my master's in law, and then I became a postgraduate teacher at Bloom Public School. So currently I teach legal studies to the 11th and 12th. And Professor Mishra, I must tell you the book that, the textbook, which is written by the esteemed professors at Jindal, today I am on the team that is going to be revising that book. So it's very fascinating because I had the opportunity to speak with the director at CBSE, and we decided, okay, it's time, the book needs revision. Case laws have changed, laws have been updated, amendments have taken place. So I'm very privileged and I'm very happy to be on the curriculum team at CBSE. And we are hopefully by the beginning of next year or so, we will have a revised textbook with all the updated material. I am also a resource person at CBSE, which means in my capacity as a resource person, I train other legal studies teachers around India on how to best teach this subject. When you're teaching school children, this subject is very new. And I keep telling them, I wish I had it when I was in school. And the textbook is very well drafted. It covers, it very well goes through all the facets of law and focuses a lot on constitutional law, which now in our new national education policy is the focus. Constitutional law and educating our children about their rights, about their duties, constitutional awareness is very important. So today, currently, I teach legal studies. I am the legal advisor. In my legal advisor capacity, one side is compliances. So those compliances could be environmental related, could be labor law related. But on the other side is the compliances and our role towards the right to education. So with the right to education, there are many responsibilities that the school and the school management have to adhere to. So we as an institution have a very strong child protection policy. Child protection policies is also a very important area in the schooling industry. And today, now more than ever, when it comes to schools or educational institutions, legal support is very, very important. Those years are gone when schools did not need lawyers or legal support. Now, with the amount of compliances, with adhering to all the requirements under the Right to Education Act, Right of Persons with Disability Act, and all the other laws, whether central or state, the schools need a strong legal foundation. This is where kids come. This is their second home. So it's very important to have all your compliances and everything in place. So to just sum it all up, this is what I'm doing now. I am the legal studies teacher, the advisor. I work a lot in child protection. I have worked with Delhi Legal Services Authority. I worked with NGOs such as Sakshi to spread awareness on child protection. And now I have the honor of working with CBSE, which is, and I'm very grateful and I'm very happy with my journey, and I'm very excited to see what comes ahead. Thank you so much, Professor Mishra, for this opportunity.
So amazing, Sana. The beauty of what you are doing is the future generation of lawyers and judges and legal professionals, a lot of them are going to come from the education which you are imparting at the school level. And also, you will be happy to know at Jindal Global Law School, we have taken a leap to start India's first BA honors in legal studies, a 3-year undergraduate program. So in spite of a 5-year LLB degree, which usually after class 12 was the only option to study law, our 3-year BA honors enables a student to get a degree early, the first degree. And then the student can choose to whether pursue law in its full manifestation by doing an LLB honors, or to move to other disciplines, other areas, or do something else, or even say taking an IS exam. Now the next panelist whom I am going to invite has been a very popular figure on Jindal Global Law School campus. His name is Samarpit Gupta. Samarpit is now an advocate and a legal consultant in Jodhpur. He practices in Rajasthan High Court. I am absolutely delighted to see him as an independent lawyer at a very young age. He has also been a founder and director of Legal Resolution Center Private Limited. And Samarpit, I have fond memories of organizing events, doing a lot of student activities, being part of so many student societies, and in a way, a popular face, a student who was known to almost every faculty member and maybe every student as well. So I will like Samarpit to share his story being a Jindal student, but more about his being an advocate and practicing law in Rajasthan High Court. And that is where the topic of today's session is justified, where we are talking about diversity of legal profession, and where we have one speaker who comes from a law firm background, who is working for Ketan and Company, and then Sana is teaching legal studies, and now Samarpit is a courtroom lawyer and advocate, and of course our other panelist who is more legal researcher and writer as well as a lawyer. So over to you, Samarpit.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity. I take it as a really nice marketing scheme for myself, as lawyers are not allowed to market themselves in India. But yeah, I'm delighted to be here this evening, and I'm delighted to be connected with you all again. And it's so I'd like to start by saying that my journey at Jindal was something as a roller coaster. I was never that much into academic fields or something, and I think I was very loved person of the campus, and I think that is what enabled me to become a good lawyer as well. See, at Jindal, when I started my journey in 2012, as I remember, I was very much fresh there, and I didn't had any exposure to law prima facie. I had just done CLAT, and LSAT examinations and everything. And I remember Professor Deepika Jain taking us to the Saket Court for a field visit in first year. And before that, just prior to that, I had got in touch with my cousin who was working in a law firm back in his days, and I went to his office, visited his office, and I was like, "कि यार ये क्या हो रहा है? तो तुम लोग बस computer के आगे paper drop कर रहे हो." But I was in first year. I didn't knew much back then, and then when I went to the court, it was all a different world altogether for me, and that's how I remember. I remember precisely what question I asked to Professor Deepika Jain, that ma'am, how do they have the confidence to go in front of the judge and talk about or everything which they have been writing and delivering and what they have done for the client. So it was, I think, one of the beautiful experience, and that's how I made up my mind to come into the field of litigation, and that's where I just started my journey. So I think litigation, it's very tough to explain it. It's something which cannot be done in a day or something. But because I will start with the court actually. That is not the end. There remains litigation over the state for a certain period. So litigation doesn't ends in a day. It is a very tiresome, cumbersome process. Unlike the Suits series which you have watched on Netflix or whatnot, it's very different in India. It's very dynamic. It's very bold. It's very cumbersome. It's very boring, I would say, when you do start as a lawyer, as a young lawyer. So I started my practice at trial court in Jodhpur, in the chambers of Mr. Vyas, and where I started to learn about CPC. What is CPC? How you deal with CPC? What are the nuances of CPC, and how you can use it for your own whims and whimsicals, pleasures, etc. It was just mind blowing how the entire court system works around it, and the CRPC, and then there was NI, and there was multiple kind of acts which are governing the courts in India. As a lawyer, when I was in law school, I used to think there are particular one or two acts: the Court Act, the Advocates Act, the Constitution. Then there was CPC, CRPC, which devises the procedure. However, that was not the case. For every day, you have there are local laws, then there are sub-local laws, and that's how you move through them and you navigate through them, and that's how I started my journey in the law field of litigation. After completing 8 months or 9 months, as I remember, I joined the chambers of Mr. Sandeep Shah, who is currently the double AG, and there I worked for a year almost, and there I started to learn about how the writs are presented, the writ jurisdiction 226, 227, and how it interplays with the fundamental rights of the Constitution. It was beautiful to see how every single matter, every single litigation which comes up before the judges or before the court has a certain aspect of fundamental rights in it when it comes to before the court. After that, I joined Mr. Vikas Balia. Mr. Vikas Balia is one of the most prominent legal personalities in Rajasthan legal scenario, where he is one of the most designated. He is going to be a designated senior lawyer in a month or so, I guess. Yes, that's what the news is. And from there, I learned that okay, how to navigate with these corporate big firms who bring their litigation to the litigators, to the lawyers. Why they don't have their own litigation team, and even if they do, why they do hire local counsels. That is when I got to know that litigation is not a piece of cake. There are so many platforms where you can operate upon, and that's how I started to build up my own office. From there, I started getting cases. From there, I started getting clients, and I started becoming a little bit known in the entire field of law. Now, I won't say that I'm a famous personality or something, but yeah, definitely I will say I'm working upon it. And so in short, I would like to say that litigation gives you wings. The Red Bull's tagline, gives you wings. It has endless possibilities. You start with a simple civil suit, but later it converts into a public interest litigation. I've been appearing for multiple parties. I have 250 orders under my belt, and I've done some 8 to 9 PILs as far as I can remember throughout 4 years of my journey as a litigator. And I tell you what, it gives you wings. You don't. It gives the voice to the voiceless. It can give. Uh, it has so much stake, and it has so much power as a lawyer. So once a lawyer becomes a litigating lawyer, you get immense power. You are dealing with people's life directly, and you are affecting their lives on a daily basis. अगर एक इंसान का मैटर आप डील करते हैं, and you go to the court, and by chance you fail in that matter, खुदा ना खास्ता ऐसा कभी ना हो, but if you fail in that matter, that person can lose his entire life savings, if that pleases. So this is how litigation industry works. It's something I cannot put in words. It's a feeling altogether. It takes a lot of courage to join litigation. It takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of determination, and it will be discouraging initially, but once you start, once you put your claws into the ground and you clutch it properly, I think you will be flying high. You will be flying really, really high. Over to you, Professor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Samarpit. It's like coming directly from your heart and also your experience from, say, lower courts, the district court in Jodhpur to the High Court, and also working with some eminent lawyers, and now handling cases independently. I'm sure it's a good learning for young people, and including one of our panelists today. But our next panelist is having a very interesting journey. Anuja, who is a graduate first of Campion School in Bhopal, and then came to study 5-year BLLB program at Jindal Global Law School. The most interesting thing about Anuja is he was a teaching assistant 3 times in the law school to his professors, and his interest in writing and research got him published widely, not just blogs and op-ed articles and other legal articles, but even some journal articles and some profound academic pieces. He's an advocate registered with the bar, but I will say Anuja is one of those lawyers who have all the makings of a future academician as well. I will like to invite Anuja and to share his journey at the law school, as well as his love for writing and research, and also to share some of the works he truly cherished and his time at the law school. Over to you, Anuja.
Thank you so much, Anand sir. Good evening to all of you. And it is really nice interacting with you all after a really long time. COVID-19 has brought in various difficulties, but I think that one of the positives that has come out of this pandemic is, the number of webinars, the hybrid meetings we all have throughout India. It keeps us connected. And as Sana said, it keeps the world smaller. So my journey into law was kind of decided a bit early when I was in class 10th in Campion School. Around that time, I started thinking about these things, and I found that I had a very strong interest in law and social sciences. Although ironically, I did take the field of science in class 11th and 12th. It did help me understand that I was in fact interested towards law. And in Bhopal, it has also been interesting that Professor Anand Prakash Mishra was there in one of the summers in 2014 or 19. I was working, I was learning under Professor Deepu Krishna, who's currently working with Professor Anand Mishra in Jindal. And I was taking CLAD tutorial classes under him. And Anand Prakash sir had come to Bhopal to talk about Jindal Global Law School's various opportunities abroad that law students have. And that was the first time I interacted with him, although it was not until I met in the campus that I learned more about him, more about law and the various opportunities that it offers. I was very lucky to have that the environment it offers, the various colleagues it offers to you from all across India and even abroad, and all the professors that it has, it influences just because a person has taken law as a subject interest that they started hello, connection was cut off. But to continue, hello, I'm audible now, Professor?
Yes, Anuja, it seems your internet is facing some issues. But I think,
Yes, sir, I think
it's fine now.
yes, sir. So I'll continue where I left. I think that and my interest in research, I would say to start off, I entered into moot courts and mooting, and it was a place where I found myself, understanding what law is, how to apply it, how to
So, Anuja, it seems internet is failing. Uh, your talk, you just fix it. But I will like actually Shruti, who is our LLB student, meanwhile, to come forward and share her. One thing I will like to hear from a student is what inspired you to take up law? Also, after a first degree in some other discipline at the J.D. Birla Institute in Kolkata, and from Kolkata to Sonipat. And also, I will like to hear from you, particularly your experience of attending classes online for last, a few semesters, and your internship experiences which you have undergone during your studies as a LLB student. So over to you, Shruti. We will come back to Anuja after this.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank Professor Mishra for inviting me today to talk about my experiences of taking up law as a career and studying at General Global Law School. So I believe my experience in this field is little as of now, as I'm still in my last year of law school. But I'll share my journey so far, whatever I have experienced and my perspective on it. So basically, my initial life has been a bit different, you can say. I'm from Muzaffarpur, Bihar, and I did my schooling from my hometown itself, where till class 10th, I studied in all-girls convent school, and then I took commerce and went to a different co-ed school to do my 11th and 12th. So after completing my schooling, it was a turning point in my life. So that was a time when I was having a discussion with my father regarding my career. And then he actually told me, Shruti, go for law. You'll do great in that. So that was a time I started reading about career in law, what are the subjects, how it's going to help me, whether it suits me or not. And then I decided to go for 3-year course, and that too from Jindal only. I wanted to explore 2 different courses from 2 different places, and that is the sole reason I went for my undergraduate course first. From J.D. Birla Institute, and I did my BCom honors in human resource management from there. I chose human resource management in my undergraduation because it had a few law papers too, and my ultimate goal was to pursue law. So I went for this specialization and not marketing and finance. And then I actually started liking law after actually reading the law papers. So after that, I chose Jindal, which I always wanted to choose for pursuing my law. The exposure this college has provided and the faculty I have got who are like best in class, the wide array of contribution of subjects which sets it apart from the crowd. So it is always enthralling to see the crowd who is like striving towards excellent day in and out. Uh, I deem it privilege actually to get an opportunity to study here and be a part of this learned crowd. Professor Mishra has also been my great support and guidance here in Jindal. So, unfortunately, because of COVID, we did not get the chance to stay in campus for a long time. But Jindal adopted the online mode very quickly. Like, I think most of us would agree upon it that we are doing almost everything online. We did not have to compromise on things which we might have done in physical campus, and which maybe we are not getting a chance to do it in an online mode. We are like doing our internships online, giving exams online. We even had our 0 day process online, and almost all other things online. So I'm really thankful that I did not lack any opportunity being in this college. So law school has changed me in various ways. It actually makes you think like a lawyer. So when you do law, reasoning is something that revolves around your head every time. So in law school, you are actually taught to analyze problems objectively and look at things from every side of the issue. So this approach has quite helped me analyze the non-legal problems in every aspect of my life actually. So I participated in extracurricular activities, and Jindal gives you a chance to participate in n number of extracurricular activities as per your area, as per your interest, and you can excel in that. And this has taught me leadership and good teamwork. So I have learned enormous things that I can apply in my future life too. So one major thing which I really admire is law school has developed confidence in me. Before joining law school, I wasn't this confident, which I am today. I can bring my ideas, my thoughts on table confidently now. So you have a lot of different options to choose once you complete your law school. When we decide which we decide while doing different internships. So through your internships, you get a chance to actually see the practical aspect of your career. Like comparatively, being in a 3-year course, we get lesser internship time. So I personally did my homework first before joining law school, as I already decided earlier to join law school. And I decided to do internships from my first semester itself to decide where actually I want to go after my law school. So I did my internships in both litigation as well as in various law firms. So I believe that legal profession gives you various opportunities, various aspects to choose in life. After pursuing law, maybe you can practice in some law firm. You can be a litigator. You can be an independent lawyer. You can go for in-house counsel. And one who has interest in teaching can go for higher studies, LLM, and also have an option of doing JD. So there's a lot of options in legal career which one can choose as per their area and interest. And also you are offered when you make your career in legal field is that maybe you say right now you are inclined towards litigation, you can go for that. Maybe while working for 2 years, 3 years down the line, you develop interest in corporate or any other area, and then you can get shifted to that. And you don't need any specific exam or any specific course to shift. So one of my internship was under Mr. S.D. Sanjay, which was who is a designated senior advocate in Supreme Court as well as in Patna High Court, and he's also a former additional Solicitor General. So while doing internship under Mr. Sanjay, I got an opportunity to work on different kinds of cases like matrimonial case, land dispute, and many other kind of cases. And also, I did various law firms internships with reputed law firms like Khitan Company, Lakshmi Kumaran, Juris Corp, to actually broaden and diversify my understanding of the subject. So while doing these internships, I got an opportunity to deal with corporate transactions. So coming from a business-oriented family, I have seen and heard whole of my life about business contracts, business transactions, and different issues and remedies that are attached to it. So fiscal arithmetic has always fascinated me, and corporate law, I think, is a unique blend of law and finance. So understanding the mood of the company and looking into their corporate decisions has always attracted me. So I always ponder like how within the realm of law these multi-million dollars decisions are taken, which are like far-reaching consequences to multiple stakeholders. So a corporate entity is shouldered with multiple responsibilities, and person who discharges all these responsibilities always gives me a sense of like self-confidence and belief. So, owing to this interest of mine, after doing various internships, I have decided basically to continue my legal career in the field of corporate law, particularly as an in-house counsel. And I also wish to pursue LLM someday in my life, which I might go for maybe after a few years. So that's all about my whole journey I have experienced so far. And over to you now, Professor.
Yeah, it's wonderful, Shruti. I'm delighted. I really enjoyed your talk. And I fondly remember when you came from all the way from Muzaffarpur to Jindal campus in Sonipat to join the LLB 3-year program. And you have come a long way despite COVID, despite campus getting closed for physical classes. I'm so happy that you were able to do so many good internships and also study well. Now I will again come back to Anuja before taking few questions which have come up on YouTube. This session is being relayed actually on official YouTube channel of OP Jindal Global University as well as the Facebook channel, and I will request the audience to ask questions for the panelists. So we'll be taking the questions after we hear from Anuja his story of writing and research which he inculcated, as well as moot courts and other things which Anuja did. So over to you, Anuja.
Thank you, Professor. Sorry for being cut off. I will continue from where I left. So first, I'll talk about the experience of moot court competitions in Jindal. I would say that moot courts are one of the most important activities that a law student can partake in. Not to say that you need to only do moot courts throughout law school, but it does open up your mind. It brings you to understand different areas of law, understand how to argue, understand how to research, how to write, and how to approach people, make connections with others. So mooting is an activity I would strongly encourage individuals to do. I had done certain national moots in Jindal, and due to which I also got to know professors before they even taught me, or professors who had not even the opportunity to teach me and my class. But so I got to know Professor James Nedumpara through my moot, and I worked under his research center, later cited as Professor Anand Mishra had talked about. And there I got to work on various reports with India's Ministry of Commerce and Trade and their centers, and with Professor Nedumpara and their research associates there, we co-authored various reports, and that's one of the first works that I had done. And I also later had the opportunity to do the Herbert Smith Fields International Moot Court Competition at King's College London, and there a team not only got the best memorial, but we also got to break into the top 8 teams in the competition. We faced various difficult universities such as uh, Singapore Management University, even King's College London. And it was great competing against these teams, understanding, law from their perspective, moot courts from their perspective, their coaches' perspectives, and understanding, international moods, how they work, and to get exposure to those colleges, interacting with people. My moot court teammates even got pictures with Professor Alison Jones and Richard Wish, who were competition laws, one of the greatest academics in EU. So it was a great experience for me, and I would strongly encourage people to do moot court competitions. As for research, I started research much earlier compared to my batchmates, and I strongly encourage people to keep following up contemporary developments, read up statutes, read up new case laws and all, and think about them critically. Often also follow journal articles, books by faculty members or by any other national journals, reputed international journals. And as you read and understand those works, you will get an idea about how you want to have your own process of thinking and writing. And that's how I started off. I started writing works with some of my friends, and some independently took them to my professors, and they were very generous in reviewing our work, giving us feedback. And that helped me start off publishing in journals and reputed blogs early. I also got the opportunity to work as a research assistant to some professors, such as Professor Alexander Christoph Fisher. I got to assist various research centers under Professor Sumit Baud, Professor Preetam Barua, and later even other faculty members. And this also gave me opportunity to both organize various events. We under Center for Constitutional Law Studies, we organized an event with um, previous President of India, Pranab Mukherjee, and his organization, where we talked about Samanvaya. And Professor Rajkumar was also there. We all interacted with each other. We were discussants and all. So it helps you develop that analytical mind you need to have conversations with people, think about law, and think about how you can potentially contribute to further conversation towards these fields. Coming to publishing, I would say that for a law student, what you should try is write, and write. As much as you start writing, making mistakes, redrafting your work, reviewing your work with others, reviewing your work yourself after some point of time, and making attempts to publish at reputed places, you will eventually get through it. You will eventually understand the flow of how the things work, and you will also understand how you can yourself contribute to academia in general. And it's not just about publishing, but it's also about understanding where there are loopholes in law, where the law has not become transformative yet for the society, and how by contributing conversation towards these neglected areas, you can not only contribute conversation towards that, but also encourage others to do so. And I would like to encourage law students to definitely try, just throw your work at journals, at newspapers, at blogs. Keep attempting it, keep writing it again and again, and you will have an understanding of gradually how these things work. It might look intimidating, and there might be senior of yours who might say that you should not try it early in life, but I would strongly encourage you to try it. Also approach your professors. In general, we had very great professors who reviewed our work, gave us feedback, and even encouraged us to try publishing in journals like Oxford, Cambridge, and all. So definitely do give it a try. Um, Coming forward to my professional journey, I tried to give some entrance examinations for Supreme Court law clerk examinations, other positions and all. But due to the COVID pandemic and COVID in general, I wasn't able to obtain these opportunities. However, my large goal has been to enter into academia, as Professor Mishra had stated. So I do eventually want to become an academic. And about advocacy, I think my seniors here have talked a lot about it. And at the same time, as Samarpit said, it's not something that you could talk about in one day. But I would definitely encourage you to think about litigation, do internships in litigation, and not just corporate law or other areas. Like, try everything in law school. Be a generalist. Do internships everywhere. Do it under your professors. Do it under corporate law firms as well. Do try corporate in-house organizations. The more you intern in different places, you're going to build up a profile that will be both holistic and also have an idea about how the legal field itself works. And on advocacy or any kind of work that you want to do, be it even academia, research organizations, think tanks, public policy, government services, and all, as Suryaj had said, hard work is the key. Everything is difficult at the beginning, but once you put in your hard work, once you put in your all, it is going to come eventually to you, and you're going to have an understanding about what you want to do and the passion that you want to follow. So that's from me, Professor.
So wonderful, Anuja. It's such a fascinating story. And I loved both your twist with the moot courts as well as, writing and research. And certainly, I wish you all the very best for your academic aspirations. Now, before I come back, because our time is going to be up, and I come back to have some last word from you, I would like to take a question which has come up on the YouTube, where a student named Gadget Killer has asked, how are the placements in 3-year JGLS course? The student wants to know whether it's same as 5-year program, or I will say it's not as good. So I must tell you, to start with, that a law school or a university is not a job placement agency. It's not a recruitment firm. Any university which boasts of placements or jobs actually does a serious injustice. And law is a profession. Law is not like a hotel management diploma or say a management degree where you graduate and you go for a job. So this concept has primarily derived from, say, management education, particularly the MBA education and even other law is liberal education. You are actually trained and prepared for your whole life. It's not just for your first job. Of course, lawyers take up jobs. And I'm very happy to tell the audience who had asked this question. Few weeks back, we had a report of 48 of our students getting day zero offers where they were recruited 1 year in advance. They are still studying in pre-final year. They are in the second year of their LLB or fourth year of their 5-year law program. And they are placed in some 10 different top law firms and companies, including Cyril Amarchand, Shardul Amarchand, Ketan and Company, Tri-Legal, and a company called HCL, which recruited quite a few students in the day zero placements. I could see students from 3-year LLB program being placed in Tri-Legal, being placed in Shardul Amarchand, being placed in HCL Limited in their legal department. And in past, I know our LLB 3-year graduates. One of the example is Suryaj himself, who is working in Ketan and Company. But I have met quite a few when I had visited Mumbai, working in both Cyril Amarchand, Ketan, as well as Abdul Amarchand, many other law firms. But law firm is a very small area of legal industry, legal practice world. Law as a profession is diverse and huge. And indeed, lawyers are not just limited to, say, courtrooms or law firms or company legal departments or academia or scholarships. Lawyers have even, and that is the theme of this session, lawyers are so diverse, they are trained in a way, they occupy leadership position even in politics. If one single profession which occupy maximum number of, I will say, elected positions in the assembly and even union, our parliament, is lawyers. And if you look at internationally, Fortune 500 companies are led by lawyers. Some of our law graduates are purely into business and entrepreneurship. And rightly, our Professor Rajkumar used to say, our Vice Chancellor, that law is the new liberal arts. So with a liberal arts degree, you do everything. So lawyers are administrators, lawyers are civil servants, lawyers are judges, lawyers are doing almost everything other than becoming, say, a medical doctor or a dental surgeon or something which is very particular to another profession. So answer to the question that job placements for LLB 3-year graduates, in my view, it's absolutely equal. JGLS as a law school, it never discriminates or differentiates between a student of 5-year LLB or 3-year LLB or even LLM. The opportunities are given to all the students equally. And of course, based on their talent, their merit, their performance in the interviews, their performance academically prior to that in the law school, which determines their eligibility to be interviewed by the law firms or by companies, has a lot to, determine. At the same time, I'm very conscious to inform that today, at least a large number of graduates, I mean, there is no leading law firm I know in India where our graduates are not there in good numbers. In some of the firms, like say Cyril Amarchand in Mumbai or Ketan and Company in Mumbai, or even in Kolkata office, Suryaj, I don't know how many JGLS graduates are working, but in Mumbai, we had a small open house event with a very short notice with our vice chancellor, and 50 lawyers turned up who were working in Cyril Amarchand and Ketan and Shadul Amarchand, few law firms only in Mumbai. And it's the same thing everywhere. Now, Jindal graduates are even members of the bar in Canada, in Ontario, in UK, in United States, in both New York bar, California bar, even Washington, DC, Arizona, many states in the US. And then Australian bar, a lot of them have become members in Melbourne and Sydney, and even in China, a lot of places. So, I mean, I believe why we say diversity of legal careers, because law by nature is so diverse. You never know a lawyer is going to work his whole life or her whole life as a human rights activist or as a social worker, as a publisher, as a writer, as a academician, as a researcher. I mean, whatever field, or as a teacher, you know. So that's what I have to say on this. There is actually why a lot of people got that idea about LLB 3-year students vis-a-vis LLB 5-year student, because the law schools which emerged after, say, National Law School Bangalore in 1987 were all offering the 5-year law program after class 12. And the traditional universities like University of Delhi, where I studied, or say the Banaras Hindu University or Punjab University, Chandigarh, or the Government Law College in Mumbai or ILS Pune, or traditional universities only offered the 3-year LLB program. But when Jindal Global Law School started in 2009, our first program was 3-year LLB program as well as BA LLB honors program. Both started together. The first batch which graduated in 2012 was a LLB batch, but in 2014, our first batch of 5-year law graduated. I don't see any difference at all in our graduates of both the program. Both are doing very well, and I'm extremely proud of them. I mean, I sometimes could not imagine while seeing them in law school that they are going so far. Someone like Nisha Raman, who was speaking that day from White & Case in Abu Dhabi, I remember her taking up an LLM, leaving a corporate law firm job, and then going to University of Cambridge, and now working in White & Case. She was not actually ready for a corporate law career, but she is actually a corporate lawyer today. So law school diversity is also reflected in career decisions and choices which young lawyers make. And the law school, the investment in the law school in terms of time and money and your, it's for life. You can become Chief Justice of India with your law degree. Now that journey to becoming the Chief Justice or a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge or say an advocate of repute, it takes time. It can't be your first job. It's a lifelong journey. And that is why law is a jealous mistress, which actually consumes you completely when you, become a lawyer in the true sense. So now I will like to have some remarks from each one of you. I will particularly for our audience, some of them who are law students, who are even law aspirants, some of them who may be parents of students. And so I will start with again, Suryaj. You had started as first panelist. So over to you, Suryaj. We will just take 1 minute each and close the session.
Thank you, Professor. I think the portion that you said about the placements for the 3-year law school versus the 5-year law school was spot on. I think that generally what people don't consider is the difference in numbers, where there are so many law schools for the 5-year program. You cannot compete as such the 3-year because the numbers are lesser. So if you see percentage wise, I'm confident to say that in at least Jindal, for at least I can say for Jindal, that they are treated equally and they are given the equal opportunity for internships. I myself have gotten internships in Khaitan and other places through Jindal, so I'm well aware. And as a tip to the people watching, I would again want to reiterate that this is something that it is a process. You have to trust the process. You can't expect an easy way out in this profession, at least. It's about cultivating your passion, growing with it, and actively being involved in the community. Because as you are also saying, you are not in lawyers, the diversity is such that you are also officers of the court in a sense. So there's a lot of responsibility that is also on your head. So just trust the process, keep at it, keep being properly persistent, and I think you'll eventually make it. That's all that I would like to say, at least.
So wonderful. Sana, please.
Thank you, Professor. Just to pick up from where you left off, law is not just a career option, it's a lifestyle, it's a life choice. And I think it develops in you all the competencies that you require, all life skills that you require to excel in life. And like Professor Mishra pointed out, there is a diverse option after law. The kind of fields we have today, the arena of law that is available is very diverse. It's not just litigation and corporate, there's a lot more. So just research, and I'm sure all of you will find your footing and will excel greatly. Thank you so much, Professor, and thank you everyone else.
Thanks so much for encouraging words, Sana.
Thank
you. I like Samarpit now, and then Anuja and Shruti. So
yes,
please.
Thank you so much, sir. I would like to reply to the person who asked what percentage and what are the opportunities. In short, I'll tell you one thing. If any law school is guaranteeing any kind of placement, then they are cheating you. That's bottom line. I do not believe that any law school can give any kind of assurance that you will definitely get a placement or you will get this job or that job. No, that's not how, at least legal field is not working that way. It's totally based on your capacity, your capabilities, your ideas, the way you throw yourself in the market. And it's something which is not easy to do. It's based on the capacity, and no numbers can justify any law schools, be it any law school's placement, be it NLS, be it Jindal, be it Harvard, be it Yale. Yeah. And apart from that, I think Mr. Manoj is still hung up on his loyalty attitude. I think now you are a corporate lawyer, you must talk only about that. But apart from that, I don't have any comments about that. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity. I hope that you all love this series and you will keep watching in the University Grow.
So wonderful parting remarks, Samarpit. So Anuja and Shruti, please.
So continuing where you all left off, I'd like to now address the point about diversity of legal professions, which Professor Mishra had spoken about. it's not just corporate law firms, it's not just litigation that, are opportunities available in a law school. It's also that you have, public policy organizations, think tanks. There are also individuals who often become freelancers. So if you worked at a corporate law background, you become a freelancer later on independently, and you advise clients directly, you advise even law firms, even governmental organizations. Similarly, you have various researchers who join public policy organizations like the Center for Legal Policy, Center for Constitutional Law Research, and all of these. So there you can contribute to not only just creation of laws, but also get exposure to different varieties of research, even impactful research like going towards the society, understanding how people are, how things are, doing empirical research and contributing back about it. So these are opportunities that you can take up. And as people have already said earlier, law is not a profession that is divided of society. It has impact on the society. People from legal background reach into various backgrounds, like they even become politicians, ministers, they become judges, they become IS officers, other officers. They even go abroad and represent the country. They become diplomats. So there's a variety of options available to you. And law being not just about the black letter, you also contribute to the society as an individual. So whatever you do, just ensure that you're following your passion, and while following your passion, encourage others to do so. If you've done this, you've just done your part into contributing to the society.
Wonderful. So Shruti, our student panelist.
So basically, I would like to address this question of 3-year versus 5-year placement. I'm myself a student of 3-year LLB course, and what I think is, law school can give you opportunities. Grabbing that opportunity and getting placed is your part. Depends upon your capability. And studying in this college, I'll tell you, there's no difference in 5-year, no difference in 3-year. We are treated equally. It's we get the same opportunities as 5-year students get, as LLM students get. We get the same companies. Process is same. Interview process is same. So everything is same. Whether you get the job or not, whether 5-year people get or 3-year people get, so that too depends upon you, how you grab it. So that's your capability, and that's your capacity to do that. And I think expecting placement is fine, but you join law school to learn, to become a lawyer. Even if you are not placed in law school, your life doesn't end. After law school also, law school has taught you many things, and you can do a lot of things after that too. You have your own capabilities to excel in your life. So it's not just law school giving you placement. It does. Jindal give placement. There's no differentiation. I can tell you that because I'm myself a student of 3-year LLB course here. And in this COVID also, the number of internship opportunities which we have got, the number of companies came to Jindal. So that's same. So no difference. It all depends upon your capacity. It's all depend upon your knowledge, your skill. So that's all what I have to say on this.
So wonderful, Shruti. It's such a good time with all of you. Thank you so much for giving your Saturday evening. And it's my joy, my pleasure to have you all. Next Saturday on 16, we will again come together with a wonderful panel of our alumni and students talking about some new topic. And I hope the series continues and more of our alumni from around the country, around the world, from diverse fields, join and share their journeys, their experiences, and we make best use of it. So thank you so much, and good night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.